the thing that is dreaded, the thing that is ugly. That's what I call the dirty, messy work. When you get your jersey dirty, right? You gotta like know that you're in the game. Like you gotta get scrapes, you gotta get bumps. Same thing applies with practicing. As a speaker, we speak. So right now, this is practice for me for the next opportunity. The next stage is practice for the next stage.
Welcome. You're listening to a Spark Connect pop-up episode. This one is part of our Sports and Facilitation pop-up series, where we explore how athletic experience shapes the way we speak, train, lead, and show up under pressure. My guest today is Alex Dumas, a speaker, MC, and leadership strategist whose background in sports helped shape his confidence and voice. We talk about preparation as the real work, the athlete mindset behind strong performance, and how community plays a powerful role in finding your voice. Alex also shares his WIN framework, centered on worth, intentions, and network, and why knowing who you are before you take the stage matters. If you've ever felt nervous before stepping into the spotlight, this one's for you. Let's jump in. Hi, everybody. Oh, welcome to this special edition of the Spark Connect, where we are focusing on sports and facilitation. And I am absolutely thrilled to have my very first guest with me today. And I just can't wait to get into this. There's so many millions of reasons why this is the coolest thing ever. But first off, your name alone. I can't wait to introduce and learn more about you today, Alex. But without further ado, Alex Dumas.
Woo! Good. Thank you, Kassy. Excited to be here with you. We are on the field, right? Pun intended, to have this conversation. Let's rock and roll.
Oh my gosh, thank you. So tell us about you, what you do as you're a speaker, what you do, and then also tell us about sports and athleticism and what your brand of athlete is, if you will.
Yeah. For sure. I am Alex Dumas, as you mentioned before, professional speaker, the MC, leadership strategist. So my focus is working with associations and organizations, helping their, what do you call, like their underrepresented talent, your emerging leaders, Black, Indigenous people of color, the global majority, helping them to what I call speak up and stand out, to advocate for themselves, to position themselves in spaces for promotions, to just overall team build. So that's the sector of it. And sports has been a staple of my life for a long time. So I'm here in North Carolina. So anybody who's like, oh my God, go Tar Heels, go State and all of, like, I didn't realize like that was like real. You would watch those things on TV. I grew up in New York, Kassy, and there's not really that kind of rivalry besides like Yankees and Red Sox, Jets and Giants, that kind of stuff, Mets and Yankees. But once I got down here, people are like, hey, what's your team? What do you mean? It's like, are you a Dookie? Are you a Tar Heel? Like, I've always loved, the Tar Heels. So there, I'm declaring it publicly, people, Tar Heel fan, even though I do like NC State as well. But sports, back to sports, right? We're gonna go back on the thread here.
It's already funny to me because I live in New York too, and I'm like, New York is intense on all the levels, but all of a sudden, not this one.
Yeah,
Interesting.
It's really it's interesting to me. So I grew up in Long Island, where there was not really the closest major sports teams like Hofstra or like St. John's, right? So it's like, yeah, go Red Storm. They were the Red Men back when I was in the early 1900s, late 1900s, I should say, where I was born. But no, I grew up as somebody who was just kind of always in between, always feeling out of place. I was the youngest of 4 children. So my parents saved the best for last. They immigrated from Haiti, fell in love, had babies. But I was always kind of just out of step with my family. I was always kind of out of step with people in my community, out of step with people in my classroom. So I was a funny guy. I was popular on that. Like, if you had to like check up the boxes, like, yeah, Alex is a good guy, popular, blah, blah, blah. But like, I was just always felt insecure and alone and kind of invisible. And that's started to turn around 7th grade because I had been starting to watch football for a couple of years. I had this big dream of becoming like Jerry Rice. If you don't know who he is, he's statistically the greatest wide receiver in NFL history. He has records that will likely never be broken. And I had visions and dreams of being like him. Number 80, catching passes, winning the Super Bowl, arms out, all that stuff. And 7th grade is where it started. But I didn't get to play wide receiver, Kassy. The coaches put me like on like the offensive line, which means you have to block for people. So there's no chance for me scoring touchdowns. There's no chance for me to get glory or anything like that. But I got to hit people, and that was fun. Like, smashing against another kid. Our team wound up winning what do you call, like, our division championship that year. We were undefeated heading into that game. We wound up winning it, and being a 12-year-old, I still look back at that as one of my favorite memories, because at home I was fairly quiet, right? Even though in school I'm kind of the class clown and goofball, but my parents would be like, yeah, he's really reserved, he's really quiet. But when I got on that field, I don't know what happened, like that switch would flip, and I'm 12 at the time, right? So I'm taking you back with me, right? Late 90s, and you would think that I was like a grown man, because like, I'm letting it loose. I'm growling at people. I'm hyping people up, headbutting my teammates. I remember this because I was the youngest guy on this team. The division was like a 12, 13, 14-year-old division, but I was a little too big for the 10, 11-year-olds, even though I was kind of closer to their age. So they put
Okay.
me in this higher division. So I'm playing against like kids who are about to be in high school, right? They're working out already. They got muscles, and I'm a skinny kid. I'm just going head to head with them, and I loved it, and they respected me for that. So as we land the plane here, football was that real confidence boost I needed to see how I could fit into a bigger picture, right? Even though I wasn't scoring touchdowns, I wasn't getting the glory. My block creates a lane for that running back. My block helps the quarterback throw a pass. So I'm contributing. So that's where the seeds of me looking at the bigger picture and contributing to a bigger vision happens. So
Wow.
I'll go from there.
No, I love it so much. Like, so much of what you're describing is I can relate to it as an actor and a person who gravitated towards the theater. Like, you didn't feel comfortable, but then you found a place where you could maybe be someone else or be something else or find a different way about your expression. And that helped you to grow and be confident no matter what part you have to play in the overall ensemble,
Yes. Yeah.
it all matters and everyone is supporting each other, and it's a way for you to find yourself in a different way. It's such a confidence builder.
Yeah.
It's
It
so
really,
cool.
yeah, it really was.
I lived on Long Island for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first worked at Dale Carnegie in 2011, I moved to Long Island and I lived in Hop Hog.
Oh, wow. So you would have been really close to me. I grew up in this town called Brentwood, which is probably about like 15 minutes away from Hauppauge. And funny enough, my first real job as a teenager was at the wall bombs on Hauppauge. So anybody who was like, you're not really from Long Island, like, listen, Vets Highway, I was there. I was your cashier. I was that guy for a couple of years who was just looking sketchy and creepy, but that's what it was when you're like 18, 19.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. That was a really interesting experience for me. I ended up moving into New York City after living on Long Island for a year, went to live in Brooklyn, and then I met my husband and he lived in Rochester and I said, "Where's Rochester?" And that's where I live now.
From
So,
Brooklyn to Rochester, that's a sweet deal. Good job for him.
all right. And you know what? A little funny thing, when I moved to Rochester, the person that we bought the house from, he moved to Brooklyn.
Whoa.
Isn't that
Did
wild?
y'all trade?
Yeah,
Y'all
we just traded.
swapped?
Yeah, it was weird.
It's it's like athletes now, like they trade jerseys after their games. So like, here, you just take my keys, I'll take your keys.
I'll take yours. Yeah, that's right. So I'm interviewing people that speak for a living or that do training and facilitation for a living, and I've been really interested in traditionally the arts and how the arts impact that performance. And with this new series, I'm also expanding out and interested in people that are athletes and how that practice, that part of your life influences or informs, if it does, the work that you do today. And so, with that, are there things that you find yourself doing? Because as you were describing it, I'm like, wow, I could just sense like this is kind of some of the stuff that I go through before I get on stage. And I think that's actually how I met you. We follow each other on LinkedIn, and I saw a post, and I'm like, oh, I just love this so much. I saw a post about you getting ready for game day, which was you taking the stage as an MC. And I wanted to learn more about what are some of the things that come from the world of football, in your case, that you're bringing into your preparation, maybe your delivery, maybe both, all of it. How much of that plays out, and how much of it is coming from any of that, if at all?
Yeah, it definitely plays a big part, between football. amateur boxing, taekwondo. Those are like the three sports that I engage with through my life. And I would say that in all three of them, they as different as they are, some elements remain the same, right? Practice. So any Allen Iverson fans out there like practice. We talking about practice? Yes, practice. The thing that is dreaded, the thing that is ugly, that's what I call the dirty, messy work. When you get your jersey dirty, right? You gotta like know that you're in the game. Like you gotta get scrapes, you gotta get bumps. Same thing applies with practicing. As a speaker, we speak. So right now, this is practice for me for the next opportunity. The next stage is practice for the next stage. And before I get there, I don't ever want the words that I'm saying to be the first time that I say it, especially in front of a live audience. So there's different things that I do. I'm a member of Toastmasters. I've been in a local club in Raleigh for now the past 3, almost 4 years. When I'm home, my my kids make fun of me. I have a 15-year-old daughter at the time of recording this and a 10-year-old son, and they'll see me in full garb, right? Like usually days before like an engagement, I'll do what I used to do with sports. So it's called a dress rehearsal. So I'll get dressed in my suit. I have my shoes on, the socks I'm gonna wear, everything. I want everything to be imprinted for success. And sometimes I'll go through the whole keynote and just blurt it out. And sometimes I won't even. I'll just mime it. I'll just think about my movements, think about intentionally where am I going to pause here, where am I going to hold the focus with this audience person here, where am I going to move around the stage, where am I going to do the dramatic movement. So I'm rehearsing, I'm scrimmaging for myself when I'm on the stage. Oh, this is just, it's clockwork, it's textbook. Like, I've been here before, I've done it, this is nothing new. Rather than initially the first couple of times on stage, and maybe this was your experience too, Kassy, where you get up there, wow, thank you, I'm so glad to be here, right? You're killing time, right? You're killing the clock metaphorically, because you don't have content yet, you don't know what to say, you don't have the presence and all that, and that's fine, you develop that as you go. But as you start, it's awkward, it's weird. It's like, all right, I'm in front of people, I'm here to say words, they're here to listen and then do something different. That's, if I had to describe what we do as a career in a terrible way, I say words and people do things. Like that.
I don't
And
know
then
that
they
it's
pay me.
terrible. It's pretty good.
And then they pay me like, what? Like that doesn't make any sense. But going back to your question about the preparation, right? The practice, the preparation is important for me. Imprinting that, one of the things that I like to do is as we fly into places, hopefully arriving early. For anybody who's an emergent speaker, seasoned speaker, hopefully this is part of your practice for success. Showing up early, a day early, and I like to touch the stage. I like to feel the my arena, my field, because as I said, I don't want the words that I'm going to say be the first time I say it. So I was in New York in October, a couple months ago. Got there for a conference. I'm walking around taking pictures of my room, and I'm just feeling everything. And then next day, it's time to deliver, and things didn't go the way I wanted because the room started to overflow. They had to have people start standing. It became almost a standing room only. I'm like, oh God, like what am I going to do? I had my cameras set up here. I was already with cameras and all the things. I'm like, all right, I got to like adjust, scrap that play, right? I'm using all the metaphors right now. Scrap that play, make an audible, take down the camera here, set this up here. But like, it want to be in a really great presentation, but that only comes from me being comfortable and flexible. If that one thing goes wrong, maybe 2-3 years ago, I'm thrown up. Now I'm sweating. Oh, it's time for me to be on stage, right? I'm discombobulated. I'm all flustered. Versus, all right, I've been here. What do I need to do? Where's my step? Where's my place? Right, as an actor, right? Where's my place? Where's my mark?
Yeah.
And I know my marks. I know where I'm supposed to be.
Did you learn that, you think, playing football growing up?
Yeah, the weird thing about football with me is, and I joke about this with my son because he plays the other football, soccer. He's a really great player, at this age, and we're similar and we're different in that aspect. That I'm like super intense. People wouldn't necessarily know that from being around me because, like, I'm a funny, I'm a laid back, easygoing guy. Like I like to joke and have fun, but like on the field, like don't like that thing, like whatever that is inside of me, like that thing turns on. It's like I'm going for blood, right?
What
And
is that? Like, where does that come from? I think we see that more in sports than we see it in other places. And I'm just like, what is that? And it's so interesting. I actually am kind of obsessed with it.
I think it's because it's the permission to be violent, to permission to be uncaged and You get to be kind of a barbarian, a gladiator, so to speak. So people are here to watch you. This is the arena. So now I have to live into that role. Like, all right, they came to see tackles, they came to see some hard hits, they came to see some points scored. So that, I think part of that is like our own genetic wiring, just like, hey, we like combat, we like action, we crave that.
Do you think that plays out more than in football than in other sports? I mean, I guess hockey is kind of like that too, isn't it? Kind of.
Yeah, hockey.
Yeah.
I would say boxing was like that. The tale of things of like how society is, right? It's you versus me. Right? It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
interesting because they call the boxing like the squared circle, the chamber of truth.
Mm.
And I remember when I was training one time, and my coach, rest in peace, Coach Carter. He was a tough old guy, tough. Hated his guts, but I loved him and respected him because
He's your boxing coach.
yeah, he was my coach. He
Yeah.
would make me do things I didn't want to do. He's like, hey, run this mile, do this stuff. But he would always say like, hey man, I know you haven't been running. It's like, how do you know? Like, get in the ring right now, right? In 2-3 rounds, right? 2 minute, 3 minute rounds. I'm gasping, I'm sweating. See, I know you haven't been running, right? So it's these things that we can say, hey, I'm really great, I'm really awesome. All right, get in the ring. Show me your skills. Show me what you can do.
Right.
You have guys when you spar, like that's practice fighting, essentially, however many rounds that is. You have guys that look amazing in the gym, right? They can knock people out. They you can barely touch them. They look great. They got all this great movement. But when quote unquote the lights come on, when it's actually time for a real match, something that counts, that's going to go on a record or a real competition, they shrink, they freeze. It's like two different fighters. Like in the gym, they're shadow boxing, they're doing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they're like timid. They don't have any life in them, no enthusiasm. Like what? Who is this person? But it's a real thing because the lights, the intimidation, the mental preparation of it. They didn't prepare mentally of, oh my goodness, all the people are looking at me. What am I going to be embarrassed? What if I get knocked out? What if I look silly? And what if I run out of energy? And right, and it's all this tension that's actually taken away from the performance. And same thing with speaking. Oh my God, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? What if they don't like me? What if this joke doesn't land? What if this story bombs? What if I don't sell them? And we forgot the thing that we're supposed to do, connect with an audience.
Right. Oh, that's what so many people, we focus on the content in training and in speaking. We focus so heavy on what am I going to say? What are the words? How have I typed it up and provided it to the client in a document? What's on my speaker reel? What's on my website? What participant manual have I sent out? But then all that, it's not that doesn't count. Of course it does, but it won't carry you. When, like you said, get in the ring. And what is it? What's the kind of work that people need to do? Like when you start thinking about that, like what is it that we need to be taking care of and focusing? Because people do say that. How do I manage if things don't go right? What if no one shows up? What if they don't laugh? What if I forget what I'm supposed to say? And I think that if we could lean into what athletes do to prepare for the game, for the match,
Yeah.
we would be so much better off. We'd be so much stronger.
Yeah. And I think part of that kind of goes back to that idea about practice and preparation, right? Of rehearsing, doing the dress rehearsals, and just have you asked some pretty good questions right before this, right? It's like, what's in the participation manual? What's on the website? What's in the reel? And the thought that came to me as you were saying is like, well, what's in your heart? What's the thing that you have to say or you want to say that you believe will help somebody and serve somebody? We come from that place. We leave with that first. I don't have to think about, well, was this the perfect sentence to say on Kassy's podcast? And maybe I should edit that in scrap. Like, no, it's
Right.
what's coming through me to you, and however that goes, it's gonna go. I joke about this all the time. I just had a friend of mine who recently did their first presentation, and they were worried, right? Because that's what we do. We overthink. And I was like, hey, you gave your speech. Can you touch your arm for a second? They're like, yeah, why? It's like, hey, you didn't die. Like you can feel, like most people say, like public speaking is the number one fear, right? Before like ahead of dying. I'm like, if you speak, you won't die. You're gonna learn something. You're going to do something that most people want to do, but you have the courage to actually follow through. And if you do it again, you're gonna be even better than this time. So, are you willing to get back out there? Are you willing to get on the field and risk that? That's the question.
I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable here for a second because you know what? I have in the past few years, really learned how to be more in my body by getting out of my head. Because I think we get in our head. What am I going to say? Who am I going to be? Are they going to like me? And in the last few years, I've really leaned into taking care of my physical health, which is like the closest place to me ever becoming anything athletic. Because I do go to the gym a lot now, and I'm lifting, and I feel like a different human being than in my life in the last few years. And what I love about focusing on getting into your body is that it helps you get away from where your mind might take you. Because if you can ground yourself in your body, and like I find myself often saying like, well, gosh, if I could survive an intense treadmill thing for 20 minutes, I can do a speech for 5 minutes. I mean, come on, like it's not, the treadmill is harder. I can push my body in ways that I didn't know about, you really can do it. And so then to lean into that, and then to be able to physically stand there and feel that grounding that comes from paying attention to your body plays out in every other aspect of my life. I didn't grow up as an athlete, and I wish I had, because I think I just would have been so much stronger at so many things. And I'm just thankful I finally have found it today. And I think it's why I'm interested in talking to more athletes, because I'm like, what can I learn from you? How can I be more like that? Because it's so powerful. And there's just so many things that I think I don't know if it's like the world is like sort of afraid of, I grew up in the world of, I'm not an athlete, and I identified as, oh, I'm terrible at sports, picked last, hit first, And so I don't know. I'm just kind of changing that whole thing as I'm listening to you. And I'm just like wanting to be a part of it and so excited about it. And so anyway, thank you for sharing with us these things that are just so true. And you hear me pausing because I'm like, A, why am I talking so long? And then B, am I feel like I'm feeling like I'm the only one who thinks this, but I know that anybody who doesn't play sports is probably just like me, where we feel like dorks,
No, we all go through it. We're like, hey man, am I doing too much? Am I saying too much? And one of the things you said about the treadmill that just jumped out to me was, nobody will know for you if you stop the treadmill right now, right? You might have an intention, Kassy. All right, I'm gonna do 2 miles today, right? And you're at a mile 25. You're like, you know what? I did enough, and nobody will ever know. Age, right? Feel, performance is different, because we'll know if you didn't do the work. We'll know if you're not into it. We'll know that you're just half-assing it and just going through the motions for us. So we as performance athletes, as engagement athletes, right, and as in the sport of public speaking, professional speaking, it's our responsibility to be prepared. And some of that is the physical matter of, me, I'm an energetic guy on stage, right? I like to move around. So I need to know that I got to be able to move for 45 minutes to an hour. Right. I might be sweaty. That's okay. I stopped caring about that a long time ago, but I need to know that I'm going to be able to have the breath control, the projection through start to end, and be able to take folks on the roller coaster ride and get soft when I need to, and get loud at other times. Wait, it's a weird dance. And same thing with sports, right? There's times where, they have this thing called the 2-minute drill. We're going back to football for a second. 2-minute drill, where it's 2 minutes to the end of a half. And usually in those moments, you're going to see amazing plays happen, because both teams understand the situation. Hey, we're down by this many points. We need to get to this destination. We have an actual objective and a goal. We have to get to this yard line to put ourselves in the best position, or we have to score a touchdown, whatever it is. And you take your best quarterbacks, right? Even though this makes me sick to my stomach, Tom Brady, the GOAT, right? Right? Patrick Mahomes. You might think like, wow, my goodness, there's so much pressure. It's 2 minutes. Oh my God. You have to understand that these individuals, they've had these 2-minute drills in their heads thousands of times. Yeah. They have seen this. All right, here we go. We're on the 30-yard line. All right, minute and 20 seconds to go. We have to get here. Okay, I know what to do. Boom, 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 boom. And they get the job done. You're like, how did they do it? Is it a miracle? No. They rehearsed it. They practiced it. Obviously, they have to now perform it and deliver it. And that's no different from anything else, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't mention Josh Allen in there. I just had to do that. But anyway.
Shout out to Josh. Yeah, he's a beast too.
Yeah. I mean, no, they've worked it so much. And people think, oh my gosh, how'd they do that? You know what? They did that when they began when they could walk. You
Yeah.
know? Many of them, not all, but they work like as if. And they've worked over and over and over. And the commitment to that is just beautiful, actually. It's stunning.
I mean, drive around any playground right now. Some kid who's dribbling a basketball. 3, 2, 1, right there. We're rehearsing the buzzer beaters. We're looking for that glory moment. Swish, the knockout in like 1 second to go. The game-winning touchdown. We all, and that's kind of going back to this, right? With my keynote, I teach it in a framework that I call win. Because when you win,
Oh,
when you achieve something, doesn't it feel good? Right.
oh yeah.
When you ran your first mile, Kassy, what was like, if you can remember that, like, what was that feeling like for you?
Well, after like crying, because I'm like, I'm done, I'm done. But yeah, I just felt so powerful. I felt so like it was like euphoric actually. Like I did that, and then and then it keeps on. Even as you ask me now, I can still remember that feeling and call on that and use that. Like it was an incredible moment of I can do things. you know,
Yeah.
things that I thought I could never do, and that I even didn't even want to do. But I realize now I really very much want to be able to do that. It's
That's why I love
beautiful.
sports. It's the
Tell us more
metaphor
about
for
your
life.
WIN framework.
Yeah, the win framework is these three components that, as I share my personal story and professional journey from this age, these are reoccurring breadcrumbs, like the Easter eggs that keep showing up. Like, oh, every time I do it this way, things work. When I don't, it doesn't work. So, win, it stands for worth, meaning like your own self worth, your own identity. I for intentions, your commitments, and N for your network, your community, and in all different phases of my life, when I have had a enhanced or a heightened sense of who I am and my own identity, I step forward really powerfully, Kassy. Man, if I know that I'm the guy who can make this play, or I'm the person that can deliver this talk, or I can coach this client, yeah, I'm showing up there like Superman, power pose, right? But I've also been the person who's been like, ugh, I don't know about myself. I'm doing things to fit in with other people. I'm compromising and sacrificing my own integrity, not respecting my own boundaries. That's a low sense of worth. So those two things play, and they show up in a lot of different ways in personal and professional space. I for intentions, I've been a person who's been just a drifter. All right, what do you want to do today, Alex? Whatever happens, twiddle my thumbs. Hope something good will happen to me, right? Just waiting. Something's gonna happen one day, Kassy. Meanwhile, intentional people, right? Committed, focused people, they're after it, right? There's just something different about somebody who's up to something. There's a speed that they walk at. There's like the aura, right? The force field around them. You just see like, okay, they're up to something. And people who are on that same wavelength, they're attracted to that. That's magnetic.
Yeah.
Like, hey, that's a big vision. That's a big dream. I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Versus,
That has an athletic feel to it to me too, that they're after it, you said. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you think about professional teams, there's 53 men on a roster, right? We're going back to football right now. All these guys are big and strong. All these guys lift heavyweights. All these dudes are fast as heck. They run 4.4, 4.5, right? They're just freaks. But what's the difference between a team that has like one win versus a team that has like 10 wins in a row, right? 10 losses in a row, 10 wins in a row. Like they all have the same equipment. They all have the same medicine. They have the same jets and all these things. But what's the difference? Well, one team is really focused on winning. One team is focused on doing the things behind the scenes, right? Going back to the practice, watching film, doing the drills, getting treatment, resting, which is just as important as the actual physical work itself. So that's the sidebar there. Last piece of this win framework as we land the plane is for the network. And here's the thing. I have been in a space where I try to do things by myself, where I try to just carry everything by myself and get all the glory. And you know what? I'm a self-made man, Kassy. I did it all by myself. No, that's not true. What I found is that it's actually easier when there's other people involved, as we have a focused intention, something that we're after, something that's meaningful and worthwhile. That's literally easy to start enrolling people into that. Hey, Kassy, I want to help out puppies or something, whatever, cause it is. If you're somebody who's like, yeah, I think puppies should be helped too. now you're on board with me. Now you're like, hey, this guy Alex, he's saving puppies. You want to get right now? We start telling people we have a whole puppy pack with us.
I'm in for saving puppies, 100%.
But is these kinds of movements, right? If you think about Martin Luther King, he didn't have a plan. He had a dream,
Yeah.
and people saw that like, hey, I want to be part of that dream too. As a coach, as a speaker, as an entrepreneur, I think about this a lot with who am I spending my time with? Who are the people that are nurturing me? Who are the people that are supporting me? Who are the people that are like, Alex, I like that idea, but like, no, right? Because it's one thing to have people like love you, Kassy, you're awesome, and then there's another person be like, nah, that kind of sucks. Ugh, I hate you. But then, right? Time, space, hindsight. No, they're all right. They probably they had a good point there. So that's the importance of having all these diverse voices to help you innovate, and then you get to actually get the thing you want.
Yeah, no, I love the insight. There were several questions I was going to ask you about the things, but you answered them by sharing the WIN network, which is brilliant. Oh my goodness. Well, I have two more questions before we wrap up. One is, could you teach us something? We are trainers, facilitators, and speakers listening in and learning about your experience as an athlete and as a professional speaker. Is there something you could give us to help us maybe lean into a bit of your world to help inform the way we might do our next speech or training?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, the one thing that I grabbed this from Tony Robbins, and this now like, oh my goodness, a Tony Robbins commercial, right? It's just what it is. I like how he said this many years ago about like changing your state, right? Just changing your state. That could be as simple as standing up, doing a push-up, jumping jacks. When I get ready for any type of stage time, I call it game time, like game day, because it's fun for me because now I get to be like me on 1,000, right? I'm like on 100 right now, but on the stage, like I'm on 1,000.
That must be
ready.
so great to see. It's all right. It's a lot here, and I feel the energy. It's incredible. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm ready to rock. So, a couple of things that I do right beforehand is I like to shadow box, right? Because when I think about athletes, they don't just get onto the field. They don't just get into the field. There's a thing in boxing where announcers will call us sometimes. They'll be like, "Man, this guy looks cold," meaning they're dry. There's no sweat. They didn't look like they warmed up, or something might have happened in the background or in the locker room where things were delayed. Things like that happen. But either way, they're in the ring and they don't look ready. They don't look focused. For me, what I like to do is I like to play a couple of songs. So I might play some songs from Tool. One of the things I love now is this song by Arctic Monkeys called "I Want It All." So I play that. And I guess we like really high vibe. I'm like boom, boom, like I'm ready to go. And then I'll put on this song by this group called Khruangbin that are based out of Houston, Texas. It's called "Dearest, Alfred." It's really slow, really mellow, really chill. Because my problem, Kassy, was sometimes I would come in after a metal song, and I'm on the stage like right away, and like I'm like, ah! It's like
You're the barbarian.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm like the shirt's ripped open, like I'm coming through like that, like all right, I need to get my energy high, my senses tingle, like all that, and then I need to come back down to earth a little bit. So that's been what's been working for me now.
I actually love all that, though. I mean, I'm going to that. Oh, thank you for that. That's so fun.
That's my music cocktail. If you want that, right, just play
Yeah,
those
we'll
two
have to
songs.
get those and put it in the show notes so people can listen. And I love that. It's like it's getting into the physical side of what you need to do. Now, you're not running your lines, you're running your body. So your body can deliver on that with heart and connect with people, as you mentioned. I love that. Oh, okay. The other question I had was about your name. I should have asked you in the beginning, but is there a relation?
Yeah. I'm named after the author, so full name Alexandre Dumas, and same name for my son. And this is a book called The Black Count, and is going through the lineage and history of Alexandre Dumas and his father Thomas Alexandre. It's going back like different generations. And full disclosure, I haven't finished the book, so people don't smack me and be like, "Oh my God, Alex, you're recommending something you haven't even finished yet." Like, yes, but as I've made it through, I'm like, this is really interesting. I love history. I love learning about where people are from and just origin stories. So yeah, there's a connection there as a descendant.
Yeah, so you are a descendant.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. We'll be sure to put that book in the show notes too. Is it the one, it's called The Black Count?
Yeah, the Black Count.
Is it Glory, Revolution, Betrayal, and the Real Count of Monte Cristo?
Yep, that is
That's
it.
it. All right, we'll get it. All right. Well, gosh, before we have to say goodbye to you, I could talk to you all day. Your energy is awesome. Where can people connect with you and learn about the work that you do?
Yeah, two places. One, speakeralexdumas.com. So it's speakeralexdumas.com. That is where you can find out about my work there. And on LinkedIn, Alex Dumas. See the face, hear the voice. You'll likely see either a voice note from me or a video message. So it's not a bot, it's not AI. This is really me doing all the stuff.
I love following you. That is how you and I have met, and I feel inspired by many of your posts. And thank you for spending the time with us today. And I can't wait to meet you in person one day too. But
Sure.
yeah, we enjoyed every minute and we've learned a lot, and your energy is incredible. Thank you.
That's your spark. Now go light something up. And hey, if this episode lit you up, share it with a friend, a fellow facilitator, or someone who needs a little more connection in their day. Be sure to follow the Spark Connect so you don't miss what's next. We've got more brilliant voices, bold ideas, and heart-forward conversations coming your way. Until then, stay curious, stay brave, and keep showing up.